Hello and welcome to Devolution. And the classic Biohazard lineup has returned to our stereos with the awesome Divided We Fall, which is out this Friday, October the 17th, through Black to Black. And today it's an absolute honor to talk to Evan Seinfeld. How are you doing, Evan?
Quite well, thanks for asking, my friend.
Excellent,
Coming to you,
excellent.
coming to you from the sunny beach in Mexico.
I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous. Right, so it's so great to hear the classic lineup on this record, firing on all cylinders. How's the vibe in the Biohazard camp at the moment?
It's exciting, man. It's an exciting time. It's really our first time putting out an album, and I mean, properly. The last record came out, and I wasn't even in the band when it came out, and like the reviews, the response, the feedback is that this is the album that should have come out in between Urban Discipline and State of the World Address,
Yeah, man.
but we had to get here.
Absolutely.
So the it's positive vibes right now.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been like as you say, it's been a while since it was the entire classic lineup of Biohazard back together, and the hardcore scene as a genre has changed in so many ways. Have you kept up to date with the evolution of hardcore in these times? Because it's
It's
a
funny, we all have in the band individually in our own ways. You have to think we weren't doing it like we had like a full 10 years where nobody was really even talking to each other.
mm,
So, you know, my um my perspective is that, all music is an evolution, or
mm.
in your case, a devolution. And in this case, I think things are cyclical and they come back around. And I think sometimes, when we started Biohazard, it was in the '80s, and I watched Metallica and thrash metal come up and displace and become the cool thing after, like, hair metal had been around, you know, and the groups that were playing in bigger places, were now playing in smaller places, and groups that were playing in small, it was changing. And I thought hardcore was the next thing. I
mm.
thought we were going to be the Metallica of hardcore. And the truth is, back in those days, the hardcore scene, while it preached a lot of unity and togetherness, was so divisive, and
Mm.
everybody was little fucking shit talking haters. And it was funny because Biohazard came up in CBGB's and the Pyramid Club and L'Amour's in Brooklyn, like in the hardcore scene. But we were players, we were
Mm.
guys who could really play our instruments in more of like a metal genre. And we were always a hybrid. And we never liked to be called just a hardcore band, because that in those days was limited to bands that, seemed like they played hardcore. Um, like it wasn't like, it didn't seem like a group of you know how can I say, it wasn't a bunch of virtuoso musicians. It was a bunch
Mm.
of guys who played good enough to play hardcore, but mostly had big fucking mouths. And I watched any band that got any success, and instead of the other bands and a lot of kids in the scene being like, fuck yeah, this is our guys, they would immediately start hating and call sellout. And like, okay, you want the band that you love and you want to support to be completely broke and only play for 100 people, because as soon as they're playing at a festival, you don't support them anymore because other people now like the thing that you like.
Mm.
And because you're so precious and private and snobby with your shit, the hardcore scene became fucking lame, man. I remember we'd go to Germany and I'd be doing a fucking interview, and I had some fucking 18-year-old kid, like, challenging me and saying, well, I don't think this is hardcore. I don't think, no. And we have opinion about everything. And I'm like, man, like, for me, hardcore was about whatever you believe, like, believe it to the fullest. Whatever you
Mm.
do it 100%. Whatever you believe, you don't have to believe this set of stuff, and you don't have to play your fucking music in a box.
Mm.
Bobby always says Bob Marley was hardcore and Bob Dylan was hardcore,
True that.
and you know, like what makes you hardcore is how you are,
Mm,
you know.
definitely.
Everybody in Biohazard are hardcore motherfuckers as men, as individuals. And we come together as a band and we do something. It's really fucking hardcore. But
Absolutely.
we never wanted to fit in the box of generic hardcore that we only play these chord progressions and we only sing about this and all of our stuff is overly simple. We always wanted to grow and evolve as musicians. And what I've seen now is a bigger, I mean, the hardcore scene has exploded. And
Mm,
what a lot of people call hardcore really sounds like death metal to me,
there's a lot of
you
that.
know.
Yeah.
Like the other night, I got to see Knocked Loose. We played a festival with them.
Yeah.
And like, it was incredible, man. Like, these
Mm,
guys are fucking good. But this doesn't have anything to do with like old school hardcore.
no.
It's hardcore in its delivery, in its crowd reaction, and its intensity.
Mm,
And people I see now are much more open minded to say Turnstile is hardcore and Knock Loose are hardcore. They sound nothing alike. They don't sound
exactly.
like you know, a promoter who was just judging music on the music would probably not put those two artists together on a bill, but they just toured together
Yeah. It's like the old
because
thing with grunge. You know.
yeah, which I think is beautiful, and I'm excited about it.
Mm,
Um, and I'm excited about the fact that the young hardcore scene really embraces metal
mm,
and metal sounding things because back in the like if a group like that came out in the late 80s or the early 90s, a bunch of hardcore kids would have been talking shit about Knuckles, going, those guys aren't hardcore. They tune down. They have chugging. They playing. They're playing off-time riffs. There's a lot of musicianship. I feel uncomfortable, and I'm just gonna shit talk this because it's not the same as everything else. And I always thought the hardcore scene swallowed itself by being a bunch of divisive shit talking people. The music scene didn't embrace it as the next thing.
mm.
It
Yeah.
just didn't.
Absolutely. And
And
following on from that, there's an overall message coming through from your album of unity, which is very important, following on from what you said about that divisiveness and also America's increasing divisiveness. Um, so obviously, this is a message you felt needed to be hammered home, and you're not a band to shy away from strong, direct messaging. So, what are your feelings about the state of play right now in America?
man, I am like no comment on politics,
Fair,
religion.
fair.
However, I will say I intentionally avoid spending any of my time that isn't 100% necessary inside the United States these days. I just finished 2 months of solo travel in Bali and Thailand.
Nice.
And when I'm not on tour with Biohazard, I'm seeking peace
Mm,
and I'm seeking conscious community.
that's
So,
amazing.
like, I live in Tulum, Mexico, with a lot of other people that don't want to talk about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about which side are you on in these specific issues, because if you're on my side, let's commiserate and spread some hate. And if you're
Mm,
not on my side, I'm going to hate you. But either way, it's negativity and hate.
mm,
So um, I'm not interested in this. I'm interested in love. I'm interested in human connection. Um, and I'm interested in being mindful and helping people.
that's amazing.
And
It comes through. It definitely comes through on this record. I mean, you were Biohazard were massively ahead of the curve back in the 90s. Speaking as a fan, great example being like you did the track on the Judgment Night soundtrack, a record that's very important to me, my musical growth.
me
Um,
too. Me
oh,
too. As a fan of all of the work done on that record by all those artists.
it was seminal. I don't think there's been a soundtrack like it. And do you feel? like obviously this predated like what they called new metal by quite some time. How did you feel about like everything that came up in the wake of that? Because you could argue that bands like yourselves and Faith No More and these bands were kind of, you know, the godfathers of what spawned new metal. Do you see it like that? Do you?
Absolutely, and I've literally heard it from like massive bands.
Mm,
I've heard from guys from Linkin Park, guys from Papa Roach, guys from Prodigy. Like, yo, man, Biohazard was really influential in in our creation. And
mm,
sometimes when you're like you said ahead of the curve, it's not necessarily a good thing for your career,
no.
but you know, I would never trade our creative uh expansion for anything.
Mm,
And the way I see it is the world and the scene has kind of come back around to make us relevant.
mm,
You know, it's our. I'll give you a strange analogy, and we'll go to the next question. But um, sometimes you don't know where you are in the world. Like how you're received,
mm,
depending on time and place and what you're doing. And like I remember, I've been married 3 times and I was divorced 3 times, and those are just things in your life that come and go. They happen. But I remember when I split up with my third wife, I was like in my early 50s. And I'm a guy covered in tattoos, with tattoos on my face, never gave a fuck about what anybody thought. And then I was like, for the first time, I was like thinking, oh my God, like who's going to date me? Like, I played a killer on TV and I fit the part look wise. And maybe no one, maybe I'm too hardcore for like the dating pool. And then I found out very quickly that tattoos are now in fashion. Used to be a counterculture, keep away from me statement. Now it's a status symbol.
yeah.
It's an expression. It's an expression of individuality, and that's how I saw it back then. But it was received much differently back then. People were scared if you were all tattooed. They assumed you were a criminal or a
Mm,
gangster. And me, I'm a yogi. I do fitness.
yeah.
Um, I love the beach. Uh, I love nature and animals, and I'm into men's work. But I thought this was going to be a barrier to something. So, and instead, my dating life has been fantastic since I've been single. So I would just say, you never know what's going to happen because
Mm,
suddenly, we're playing on festivals with the big current relevant bands. We're playing with Turnstile. We're playing with Knocked Loose. We're playing with Bring Me the Horizon. And kids are coming out and like, sure, wear their older brothers or their dad's t-shirt if we're lucky. But, for us to think that all these young kids are going to know all our shit, that's not a reasonable expectation. But it's incredible how all the young people have been like, there's this resurgence of this love for like old school hardcore. And the other night we were playing at this thing called Furnace Fest. We played with all these cool bands like Citizen and Knocked Loose and uh, a lot of where it's like a hardcore festival and it ranges from like emo and shoegaze indie hardcore, which is now a thing,
that is, yeah.
all the way to like brutal like metalcore or whatever.
Mm,
Listen, man, I remember when R&B meant you had a band with more than 10 people. you
yeah.
know
Yeah.
R&B was the
Rhythm and
Allman
Blues.
Brothers and Marvin Gaye and ZZ
Yeah.
Top. Those were R, not Chris Brown
Yeah.
and or Dua Lipa. That doesn't sound like rhythm and blues. I don't hear any blues in that. But the names change, and instead of me being stuck on what I thought it was, I need to be speaking in relevant terms. So
Mm,
uh, the modern interpretation of hardcore and or metal and or underground music certainly includes Biohazard. So
Certainly.
time and place. We made a really relevant album. It sounds like it's being really well received,
Mm,
and I'm excited to see how well we can be embraced by the young people.
absolutely. So this is a question that I asked he won't mind me saying, Shane Embry from Napalm Death. And I said, how does it sit with you, the word pioneer? And he got, he likes to see himself as like the stepfather. He doesn't want to take responsibility of the children. How does that word?
Listen, where as musicians, we're all emulating our idols and
Absolutely.
without the Beatles, there's no Rolling Stones, and without the Rolling Stones,
Of
there's
course.
no Led Zeppelin, and without Led Zeppelin, there's no Black Sabbath, and without Black Sabbath, there's no Judas Priest, and without Judas Priest, there's no Iron Maiden, and without Iron Maiden, there's no Merciful Fate, and without Merciful Fate, there's no Motorhead. You know what I'm saying?
It
And
just
it never
flows.
gets to, like, I was a roadie for Pete Steele when he was in Carnivore. This was my introduction to a band that really inspired me and helped me to believe that I could do something important in music and move people. Because really, it's not about any record sales or accumulation of awards or, your body of work as an artist. How do you touch people?
Mm,
Us, we make people think, we make people feel, and above all, Biohazard makes people move and get out of their comfort zone and let go and be free.
mm.
And if we can liberate some souls for an hour or two, it's a good day, and I've been grateful for that day.
Absolutely. And I saw you at Download Festival. It was an incredible set. And like you had young people, like 13, 14-year-olds who knew the words to punishment, who were chanting along. The whole tent was alive. And I wanted to say, like, is that, I mean, obviously you've got a very good fitness regime and your yoga and all of that stuff, and the rest of the band were on top form too. So is that the general consensus in Biohazard? Because you were playing like men like half your age.
I think, personally, I mean, that's our strong suit, where we believe, everybody in this band takes the live show to heart to death.
Mm,
We we came up, you know, feeling like uh, we had to leave it all on the stage, leave your blood on the stage, we used to say,
mm,
and we don't know another way. But to this day, like every once in a while, I'll see like some social media post of some young band that's popular,
mm,
not like necessarily young, but everybody's younger than us,
mm.
Uh, I'll see some young band and they'll be watching videos of Biohazard from the 90s and like analyzing Bobby's stage moves.
Yeah.
And like before Bobby the Handball got on stage, I never saw anybody fucking spin around like a top. But
Mm,
there was a whole wave of new metal bands that looked like they were emulating what he was doing. And
without
that's okay, but we don't know who was the first guy to headbang either,
no, no,
you know,
you're a caveman.
you know, or whip their hair or whatever, but it doesn't matter what you're doing as long as you're feeling it. So
Yeah,
uh yeah, I'm just, where I am in my life today. I'm grateful we're all such in good shape, mentally, physically, emotionally,
that's fantastic.
spiritually. Everyone's got their struggles and their demons. Life is life. It's not
Mm,
easy. But when life is hard, you can stand up and face it. It's when we expect it to be easy that we get in trouble because we create expectations that are unrealistic.
that's a very good way to put it. So I wanted to touch a bit, since I've got you, and I don't get to talk to Evan Seinfeld every day. I wanted to touch on your acting because I was a big fan of Oz, and
Okay.
I'm also a massive fan of J.K. Simmons. And you got to act alongside that intensity. How was that for you? I had to ask while I had you.
Uh, one second. Um, JK was a teacher for me.
Mm.
I had never acted before professionally. And I actually, the day I got cast onto the show, my day I reported to the set the first time, I thought it was an audition. I was completely ambushed. Like, I mean, I was ambushed because I chose to believe, wow, why would they call me and make me a cast member of the hottest show on television at the time if I have no acting experience and they've never seen me act before.
Mm.
But I showed up on the set and I had a fucking a half a day of scenes with J.K. Simmons
Wow.
and a bunch of other really big famous actors that were like so iconic and made the whole thing seem
Oh
surreal.
man.
You know, acting is something that like I don't know. It's a lot like music. I don't think it's something you can hone your craft, but I think it has to be in you to be good at it.
Yeah.
You can't learn to be funny.
Mm.
You can't learn. I hate when my biggest cringe moment when I was living in LA was like knowing some dude who had like a day job that he worked at some agency as somebody's assistant, and he's a homie, and we get together and do whatever once in a while. And you've known the guy for 3 4 years, and he's like calling you up. He's like, "Hey George, can you come down to the Comedy Store tonight? I'm doing stand up. I'm doing no." And
Oh.
you're like, wait, what? You're like, I've known you for fucking 4 years. You're not funny at all. I'm funnier right now making fun of you. Um, and like acting too, when but J.K. Simmons is an inspiring guy because there's actors who are playing a part, and there's actors who like embody the part.
Mm.
And what makes him great is that when he's playing Vern Schillinger in Oswald State Penitentiary, he is Vern Schillinger.
Mm.
There's no moment where you think he should have done it like this, or maybe they should have had somebody else. He's the guy.
Mm.
And I learned from him, uh, from Dean Winters, from Christopher Maloney, um, and from who used to coach me was Eamon Walker.
Right.
Uh, and Luis Guzman we used to read together.
Mm.
And my friend Granville Adams, who passed off a few years ago. It was an incredible experience, to be a bunch of, you know, I'm sitting with some guy and he was in like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and now I have a
Yeah,
scene with him. And then then I'm doing a scene where like I killed somebody and they're gonna put me in solitary confinement. And the warden who senses me is fucking Ernie Hudson Ghostbusters,
yeah,
you
man.
know. And I have to remain serious because I'm looking at a Ghostbuster, you
Yeah,
know.
right.
So to be an actor is like to remove everything you know and everything you think and create a reality that feels real for you so you
Yeah,
can be there. And I was really fortunate, man, that anybody smiled in my direction and I got to experience that. Thank you, Tom Fontana. Thank you, Dean Winters. And thank you, Lee Turgeson. Those were the guys who brought me in. And I recently saw a video of JK. He's fucking jacked.
yeah.
Like he might be more shredded than me, and he's way older than me. So
The
I haven't.
intensity.
I haven't. He's also a really nice guy,
Mm,
um, and I haven't spoken to him in a long time. But I hope I speak to him soon.
absolutely. But you wouldn't think he was a nice guy if you watch Whiplash. My gosh, what a performance.
What a performance is right. I mean, his character on Whiplash was nothing compared to his character on Oz. They
True.
cru- I mean, they nailed the guy to the floor and crucified him after raping him. you
Yeah.
know, it was kind of creepy some of the shit that they would do, or even my character would do. But it was so in the beginning, the show seemed so real and so authentic. In
Mm,
terms of its intensity, obviously it wasn't really like prison. It was adapted for fucking, you
yeah.
know, television, but it was HBO, and They showed men naked. They showed people getting fucking stabbed and
Mm.
murdered and if choked to death.
Yeah, man.
It was shocking to a lot of people.
Yeah, and this is before The Wire came out as well. So HBO was like, this was new. Yeah, it's fantastic. So is acting something you'd entertain going back to?
I absolutely love acting, but I'm a little funny because I'm an artist first. So, like,
Mm.
here's my rule about acting, right? Most actors just want to be an actor. It's about just acting.
Mm.
And that's why you'll see a guy like J.K. Simmons in Whiplash and then see him in a farmer's insurance commercial. I don't know if you know this, but he's one of the two of the guys from Oz, J.K. Simmons and Dean Winters, are the two top commercial actors in the world in America.
Right.
Okay. Um, I don't have any desire to be in anything that I wouldn't watch.
Mm.
And I'm kind of a dick about television and movies. I don't watch television very much. I don't watch movies very much. I really don't like a lot of things that come out. Everything seems really, since the advent of Netflix, everything just seems like it's fake.
Mm.
Everything feels small
Yeah. Yeah.
or everything has too many computer effects that are clearly effects and not real. It doesn't feel real anymore. Um, so for that reason, I remember when I was doing Oz, and even when Oz finished, I would get a call once a month from Law and Order.
Mm.
Hey, we got a part for you. You're gonna play a tattoo artist informant. You have three lines, and then you're gonna get murdered. And I'm like, guys, I'm not really interested in a one-time gig to play a rat on a show that I don't like.
Sure.
I don't watch cop shows. I'm not into cops. You know, I'm stay away from it. It's not it's not interesting. None of that shit is real. It's a bunch of fake shit.
Yeah,
You
man.
want to make a cop show in America, make a real cop show. Show what the cops really do.
Absolutely. Well, just to wrap this up, I have to say, are there any plans, life plans I mean, I should imagine you've just gone out, Matt, so there've been many life plans, right?
Well, I've just done a bunch of solo travel. The album's coming out and now we're planning uh we have some US dates. We're doing a big appearance for the release tomorrow. It's Friday. Then we have some US dates around the Northeast, some of our really strong areas where most of our fans are. And then we're planning Europe, South America, festivals, all of it. Next summer we'll be in the UK and Europe on
Amazing.
a lot of the major festivals. I don't know what's been announced or not yet, so I'll be quiet.
Hmm.
All I can just say is coming soon to a theater near you, not the Woo, the Biohazard. Uh,
Absolutely.
and life plans. I've got a couple of things I'd just love to share. If you think I'm remotely interesting, follow me on Instagram at Evan Seinfeld. Uh, and also, I have a group, a men's circle that I run, and we have an app. It's called Mentorship, and this is a safe space for men to share and be vulnerable and talk about our feelings and talk about what's really going on in our lives. And if you guys are interested, they can go to mentorship.com and check it out, or follow at Mentorship Official, because men need to check in and men need a place to sound off with other men. We're tribal creatures, and
Mm.
we're all sequestered in our phone. Male suicide is off the charts, and 80% of all suicides are men. Number one cause of death for men under 50 is now suicide. Doesn't make any sense. If more guys shared their feelings and got out of our heads, less guys would kill themselves. We would show up as better fathers, better husbands, better co-workers, better homies. So I'm working on that. And I'm really excited to announce I have a press release going to come out soon that you'll see. But I am just launched my own fitness app. It's
Amazing.
called it's called Mindful Warrior, and it's aimed at guys like you guys who might know me from music who have their own life and their own journey. And we all wake up one day and say, man, I wish I was in better physical fitness. I've been thinking to start. I've wanted to change. I wanted to change my diet. I used to go to the gym. I used to be in shape. I used to run. I used to blah, blah, blah. I used to have abs. I remember when, and men, a lot of us get busy with work. We get busy with families, as we do, and we stop prioritizing our wellness.
Mm.
So, Mindful Warrior Fitness is a really robust app and program for men to become best physical versions of ourselves. And I coach you on discipline and consistency because I'm not special. There's no secret. Go watch Biohazard 1995, Dynamo Open Air playing in one of the greatest live, metal or hardcore sets in history. And I'm up there 100 kilos, bloated. I can barely fucking sing. And you look at me today, fucking, 30 years later, and you know, I'm with fucking abs,
Yeah, man.
and I'm not special, and I don't take steroids. I just very disciplined, very consistent, and I believe that we can be constantly improving. So, uh, like it's been in a soft launch, and a lot of people have been signing up, and we do a weekly Zoom call like this, but there'll be 100 guys on the call, and we
Oh,
all check in on our workouts, on our discipline. We get accountability partners, and I'm going to be doing some meetups on the tour, Mindful Warrior meetups, where maybe we're going to run a 5K, maybe we're going to do yoga, maybe I'm going to meet a bunch of dudes in the parking lot. And we're going to do 500 push-ups.
cool.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But for me, when I'm committing my life to self-development, everything else seems to work out okay. You
Oh,
know,
awesome. Well, I'll put the links for all of that underneath this and in the
I've
everywhere.
got a call right now. I'm late for. So
Okie dokie,
uh,
mate. Well, thank you so
thank.
much for being with us, and we
Hey,
will see you next summer.
okay, and give me a shout out to mindfulwarriorfitness.com, guys. If you've been thinking about getting in shape, or even if you're working out and you're not getting the results you want, it's only $1 a day to join Mindful Warrior Fitness. And if you're thinking, man, maybe I'll do that later, I'll ask you this: if not now, then when?
Absolutely.
Thanks, brother. Great
Take
talking
care,
to you.
man. See you now.
Cheers.